The Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brennan is brought to you by Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. Built to look good and be tough. Promar and Ahi USA. Premium fishing products and accessories with concepts developed by passionate anglers. Channel Island Sport Fishing. Offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats. And more. Mossy Oak. From hot days in the water to sweltering afternoons in the woods, we've got you covered. Outfit your obsession. The Latino Business Expo, Ventura County's largest networking event. Special thanks to Bruce at Kirby Subaru in Ventura. It's the Real Angler Show, live here on Rough Edge FM. And now, here's your host, Kevin Brennan. All right, so it's me and Barry and, of course, Community Kevin with the Community Kevin podcast, the Real Angler Podcast with Community Kevin. We have Ricardo Holden here today from Mission Fish, and he's going to talk about the Ceviche Chowdown, which you want to know about, so enjoy.
Chow down when you come to our town. Chow down when you're westward bound. Anyway, that's a little West Side Connect intro, if you know that out here on the West Coast. You know, there's a lot of that type of rap music, Ice Cube and them. We're going to talk about the Ceviche Chowdown. Here with Ricardo Holden, but you might have seen Ricardo in other episodes of Real Anglers Fishing Show. When I first started filming Real Anglers, Rick was helping me on camera and fishing and some editing on the projects. He also helped us with countless Real Guppy Outdoors Kids Fishing Day. He was back when it was just Real Anglers Kids Fishing Day as well, that we did on the Port Hueneme on the beach and on the pier. So Rick's been part of the Real Angler Network for as long as we've been around. As soon as I came out of college with all of the productions and stuff, Rick's been helping us. He did my original website. He's probably done 4 business cards for me when I was a personal trainer, right? The People's Trainer, my first website. So Rick is very, he used to do all the flyers and stuff before everything was so digital for all the club parties and promotions. So his background in video and promotion and being out there, his resume and his portfolio is great. And again, we've been gifted enough to utilize his services and talents. And I just wanted to bring that out so you guys just have more history of who's on the podcast with us today and the amazing work that he's doing with another organization that you've heard us talk about here. You've seen our Real Anglers Fishing Show is Brian Barber's Mission Fish. And Brian Barber had probably been on the podcast how many times, Scotty? 3 times?
3 times at least.
Yeah, at least 3 times, talking about the trips that they're doing. And but with this event they're going to talk about, as we talk about other stuff, is their annual fundraiser. They also put the fun in fundraiser like we do, and it's the Ceviche Chowdown. So Ricardo Holden, aka Fish Eye, right, was the name of your channel?
Yeah,
name of your channel. And he's a kayak fisherman. We're building it up so he can start doing tours. But today, again, he's here to highlight his work with Mission Fish and the Ceviche Chowdown. Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me, Kevin. It's great to be here. Like he said, we've worked together for a long time, so this is sort of natural for us to work together again. Ceviche Chowdown, that is July 21st. It's Sunday. It's from 1 to 5 p.m., and it is a fundraiser. The purpose of us raising this money is so that we can take veterans fishing. Oh, my God.
Uh-oh. Silence your devices.
Oh, fired. Anyways, the purpose of this is to take veterans, heroes, fishing, and we do an annual event called the Operation Anacapa, and that is usually in October. I'm not sure of the date this year.
And you can see the episodes of that on Real Anglers Fishing Show?
Yes, Operation Anacapa. And so Operation Anacapa, we use about 4 or 5 boats, and we take over 100 heroes fishing. So it's an expensive venture to take on, and in order to do this, we have to raise funds. So back in 2018, you know, we were all sort of hanging out. Kevin was with us and Brian, and we were talking about ceviche, and we came up with this idea like, hey, let's do this ceviche contest. Let's do like a chili cook-off with ceviche.
Because everybody always wants to, ceviche out here, if you don't know, that's when you use citrus to cook your fish with it. And people brag about who makes the best. So it's one of those things where everybody thinks they make the best. the fish that you use, a preference, who likes whitefish and who likes that. So I'm just giving you a little context to when we talk about ceviche, and when we're out here, as many people as we, at least in the fishing community, right? Not people that just patrons that go to the restaurant to eat it, but those of us that actually catch it and take it home and cook it. So when we talk about it, when he says the throwdown, and we were having this discussion, we all like to who makes the best and favorite. So there is something to a competitiveness on this particular recipe.
Right, yeah. And there's so many varying ceviches, and that's what's really makes it cool is everybody sort of makes it a little bit different. People use different fish, people use different ingredients.
People put ketchup.
Yeah, clamato and all kinds of stuff. So everybody sort of has their own take on it, and that's what makes it really cool is because I make ceviche pretty frequently, and I honestly think I make pretty good ceviche. But when I went to the Chowdown last year, I was just like really watching and seeing what other chefs did and what ingredients they use, because I wanted to learn how to make mine better. So I mean, I was just super thrilled last year to walk around and taste all these different ceviches, and I was talking to the chefs and asking them like what did they use, and some of them were sharing their recipes, some of them didn't really want to share it too much, but it was great because I could taste it, and just by tasting I could sort of tell what they put in it. So I went home and I took this knowledge and I made a better ceviche myself. So when we came up with this idea, originally we thought, well, let's just open it to the public, and that was a challenge to get the health department on board. So instead we invited restaurants. So this year we've got 12 different restaurants that are bringing, some of them will bring multiple types of ceviche.
Okay. Is there different categories? Is it a winner take all?
Right now it's a winner take all. We did discuss doing some different categories, and that might change on the day of the event. But last year it was a winner take all. I think we could do some different categories. There's shrimp and there's fish, but that's sort of hard to gauge because we don't know what people are going to bring yet. They're going to surprise us. So if everybody brings fish, then we wouldn't really have a shrimp category.
Gotcha. Just check that part because there are, like you say, different like cocktails, ceviche, because I like to put the clamato, like you said, in there when I make my own. And there's people that like to mince it up real fine. And I was talking to somebody the other day, I kind of making fun of him on Facebook. Adrian, we always clown each other, but his ceviche looked like a vegetable salad with a little bit of fish sprinkled in there and stuff, right? So there are different styles and textures and flavors. So it's like anybody listening, like a chili cook-off, right? And you get people that make a chunky chili, you got people that make chili that you put on a hot dog. Like there's different types in the meat that they use. So in comparison, chili festivals are and showdowns or throwdowns are pretty common and big. So to see what you guys can do with seafood is pretty cool. But again, it can vary, and I know keeping it simple is important too, right? Than having these categories, more work for you to do. So down the line could be an option, but for now, just to come out with your fish style is nothing wrong with that. I'm still going to be there slurping it up.
Well, this is a contest, right? But I really think it's really about these restaurants sharing their recipes with the public, getting some exposure, and people coming in and they might not know that some of these restaurants exist or some of these food trucks exist.
Good way to do community outreach
right.
At the same time.
I was talking to one of our competitors yesterday, and he's like, I don't even care if I win. I just want to come and meet new people and share my food. And I think that's really what it's about. I know that it is a competition, but really everybody there makes really good food. So in my opinion, everybody there is a winner. Everybody that brings their ceviche, it's really delicious. And we also have breweries coming, which is an interesting take. What goes good with ceviche? Well, craft beer.
Let me ask you this. Sorry, jump in. I'll let you get to that. This is an important question. Do you use tostada shells, or what is your preference? Me and No Fish Vic had a big old debate because he showed up here with like Lay's one time. I know some people like crackers with it. What do you think is the best way to serve your ceviche? Do you go with the bowl and use a chip? What is your...
I like it on the tostada. That's me. I like it on the tostada. I like the juices falling all over my face. I like the crunch, falling apart, trying to balance this tostada. I like that.
That's mine. That's mine too. All right, just want to ask that question. All right.
We do have Taco Works, and they're bringing us a bunch of corn chips. So that's what we're using at the Chowdown. They were a sponsor, and they brought a bunch of...
Who was that? Go ahead and sponsor
Taco Works.
Okay.
So they're a local corn chip manufacturer. I think they're out of Santa Barbara, and they were generous enough to donate a bunch of chips. So that's what we're using at the Chowdown. So, and it was delicious last year. I mean, I ate so much ceviche, and it was just a great experience.
What's your favorite? So we're going to talk about the show, but since we're fishermen, we're going to throwing some personal stuff on this too. What is your, when you make your ceviche, what do you think, do you have a go-to fish, or do you just have whatever you catch that day? Is there anything in particular? Like I caught sheephead the other day on Monday, and I made enough ceviche for me, one fish. And I think sheephead and whitefish are kind of that's what I love to use. Is there anything in particular that you use in your fish?
Yeah, I agree that sheephead is really good. It has sort of a crab
Like the
smell
texture,
and texture,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it's more like a crab. It's a denser fish. I like sheephead a lot in ceviche. Matter of fact, if I catch a sheephead and harvest it, it's going to be ceviche because I don't cook it very well. So
Yeah, I don't cook it well. When I cook it, it seems like it
mushy.
the texture. Yeah, mushy.
Yeah,
so,
I don't cook it good, so I don't, if I'm gonna harvest a fish, I want to make sure I use it correctly. So sheephead, I definitely do ceviche. It's a great ceviche. I make a lot of calico bass ceviche because I catch a lot of calico bass, and it does make
Calico killer.
Yeah, it's a really good fish. I think the white fishes, the white flaky cods, and those really work the best. In my opinion, I've had yellowtail ceviche, and it tastes great. I just prefer to do yellowtail it differently, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
But I mean, there's so many good ceviches out there. When we had this yellowtail ceviche that was just really, really good.
I feel like for me, like when you talk about, again, this is for our fishing part of the show, is that I like yellowtail raw. I don't really cook yellowtail. If I got yellowtail, I'm sashiming it to death, man. I love it raw. I don't really cook it as much. So it's funny how we have our own styles of what we like for fish, where I tell people they catch rockfish on the boat, like rockfish or like a Reese's peanut butter cup. There's no wrong way to eat it.
Right.
So you could definitely use it for a good ceviche. Whitefish, kind of the same. Like I say, they still one of those white flaky fish you talk about. Right. But it's just good mentioning that is that how fishermen, when you talk to them, we all have our own like favorite recipes and the way that we utilize certain fish for certain recipes that go with it, And then again, with the Channel Islands rockfish, you could fry it, make tacos. Like I wouldn't wait. I had a piece of halibut the other day that somebody gifted to me. Like I wouldn't use that for my ceviche. I just feel like it's like sacrilegious to take a chunk of halibut and ceviche for some reason. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like a personal preference. That I'm saying is how we view certain species of fish and where they should, how they should be. And everybody's different, but
yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I'm drooling, thinking about slurping up ceviche and yellowtail while we're talking right now. So might need to wear a bib for this podcast. So you have 12 restaurants. Any restaurants that you want to do? Oh, real fast, tell the people the date and when it's going on. Let's throw that in there.
Yeah, that's Sunday, July 21st. Again, that's 1 to 5 p.m. You can get tickets at CevicheChowdown.com. And geez, I don't know what else to say right now.
How much are the tickets?
Oh, tickets are $50. And again, this is all for a good cause, guys. So,
Let me throw something in there real quick, Rick, because I do nonprofit, and we were having this discussion off air about the surcharge that you get from Eventbrite.
Right.
And I think if you're going to purchase tickets, that you don't want a nonprofit to kind of take that. At least I'm like that. Like if I do a CCA event or I go to an event, I think as somebody supporting, because this is a charity event, even though it's a fun charity event, it's still a charity for you guys to take veterans out all year round, right? And you jump in to let the people know, again, what Mission Fish does. You talked a little bit about it, like the Anacapa 100. But no, this is the charity event. So if you have a $5 extra fee from Eventbrite, I just tell people that are purchasing tickets, you don't want that to come from the nonprofit. That's just another way you're making a donation. Your added donation is what you're giving is a donation to this nonprofit. Except for, again, I've been to plenty of boring luncheons for raising funds for nonprofit, and that's why we do ours different. So I'm glad to see you having a fun way to do it. So if you're purchasing your ticket and it's more than that because you're paying the service fee to Eventbrite, I think that, again, just let that be part of your donation and not take it away from the nonprofit that's trying to raise money to take veterans out fishing and to catch memories and healing and sharing and the stuff that you guys do. So just my extra 2 cents as a nonprofit guy to for the person to cover that part of the bill.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we don't keep that service charge. That's something Eventbrite takes. So instead of pulling from our donations that you guys are providing, we did roll over that service charge to our guests, and that's the way it is.
Do you know about how many you've served? That's to let people know. How many. Again, I've been, I think, 3 Anacapa 100 trips. I filmed 2 or 3. I remember we filmed one together that we gave to Angler Chronicles. I filmed my own on my phone when I was cooking on the boat. I filmed for Brian, I think, twice on my own as well, besides helping him on the Erna B. About how many across the board from the Anacapa 100s to the one-off trips that you guys do, about how many trips, or how many you think you served? A couple thousand?
Oh, over 2,000, but yeah, heroes have been served. That was the last time I looked at the numbers. I couldn't give you the exact number, but it's definitely over 2,000. These trips are bringing over 100 every year. It's really a big task, and with the help of all these volunteers that Mission Fish gets, I mean, we're able to do this. It's a lot of work. People don't realize
a lot of
the
work.
Coordinating, making sure everybody has a great experience.
Also collecting all this stuff, like when you guys do your fundraiser. Sorry to jump in. I'm just throwing, and the reason I'm throwing this in is because me and Brian worked side by side on when he first got started doing his nonprofit, and I see him at Fred Hall getting raffle prizes, hitting him at, hitting the pavement and trying to continue to get other, like there's countless hours that people don't see in the back and all he's doing is giving these veterans, giving it away, basically, right? So everything he's raising pretty much is, again, what you see out there to putting into this program. I just wanted to give him his credit and let listeners know that even when the hours that they're on the water, there's probably 20 times as many hours going into volunteer work.
Oh, for sure.
Or 20 times as many, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of work, and putting on this event is a lot of work too. We have to coordinate with restaurants. We're coordinating with the breweries that are bringing beer. We're coordinating with entertainment. We have a DJ. We have live music. We also have a mariachi group. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes to make these events happen. And we have some great team that's working really hard to do this, and most of it's volunteer based. So, with a volunteer, you can only stretch them so far before before they crack.
And you really can't. This some of volunteers is you can't demand either, right? Like, you can't schedule them. You can try your best, but they could kind of come and go whenever they want, and you got to get what you can out of volunteers. Right. So that's something we're dealing with our program is staff over in volunteers, because some days I need to know people are going to be there 8 to 5. Versus volunteers that could waltz in whenever they want, and you're thankful that they are helping. But when you're trying to organize and have an event, you do need certain staff just to make sure somebody's always locking it down, because your volunteers can come and go at their leisure.
Well, I'm a volunteer, so I don't get any funds for doing these events. I don't take any money. I don't charge any fees to Mission Fish. This is 100% volunteer for me. And the truth is, at times I can't. I have to pay the bills. I've got to go to work. Yeah. There's. I wish I could donate 100% of my time, but you can't. We have our own lives as volunteers, and sometimes we have to step back and focus on feeding our families and stuff like that. So that's true. We sometimes we have to step back, and I have to do this too, because I've got volunteers that are helping me. I'm a volunteer, and I got sort of volunteers under me helping me, and I have to make sure that I don't push them too hard to where they don't want to become a volunteer anymore.
I honor that 100%. But that's why it's important to have staff. So again, as you're growing, the importance of having staff. You can't run a nonprofit with volunteer only, and as much work that goes into it. Just something to mention that people think that their misconception of nonprofit is that you should be getting paid next to nothing and giving away all your time. And I think right now in the nonprofit world, there's a big change in that. Maybe previously where some nonprofits were taking advantage of money and giving you a dime of what they raised to the program. And their staff was taking home big screen TVs and doing stuff like that, taking advantage of nonprofit. But realistically, you can't run a nonprofit without some staffing. I'm just going to put that out there, depending on how big Mission Fish is growing and what they're doing, but something definitely to consider, because again, you cannot run any business, and it is a business at the end of the day, that as far as using people that are clocked in and that you can rely on to be there certain days and stuff. So if you're listening up, if you're thinking about maybe making a donation to Mission Fish to help them in those areas, if you're thinking about volunteering to help lighten the load on some of the stuff that they have to do. But again, knowing as a founder of a nonprofit and a volunteer when I was an exterminator, and doing it now and working with volunteers, I've seen the full gamut. And I'm just going to always be a voice for people understanding how much nonprofits give, and with the capacity level that's usually under achievable, and they still perform miracles. So shout out to you guys for everything that you guys are doing with the capacity that you have to pull out this event and all the fishing days throughout the year. So kudos to you guys, man. I get it. And I'm just going to campaign for you guys as well, for people that are listening from the nonprofit side.
Right. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, the execution, with Kevin right here, weekly kids fishing trips on the pier. I see him all the time. I mean, I go on a bike ride and he's like out there with a bunch of kids, and I'm like, I didn't even know about these. Like, oh yeah, we came out today, and I'm like, oh cool, so to see that that it's actually the cause is being served. Kevin's out there, and same thing with Mission Fish. The Operation Anacapa. When I've come and shot photos on the boats and everything, you get to see some of these people. They've never fished. Some of them never fished a day in their life.
Again, if you want to see the video, Real Anglers Fishing Show YouTube.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So some of these people have never fished. Some of these people have disabilities, or wheelchairs and everything. And to see them catch a fish and to see that, that sort of spark in the eye, that adrenaline rush and the feeling of accomplishment when they, hold their fish and take a picture, it really makes me feel good about volunteering. And that's what I do it for, really, is to feel good.
And tell them what Mission Fish stands for, because again, these are veterans that maybe have PTSD or, like you said, a little disabilities
right.
and stuff. So when they're fellowshipping amongst themselves, because I'll just listen. I'm out there helping as much as I talk. When I'm on those trips, I'm there to help them and serve them, and help them out with getting their, tying their hooks and getting them baited up and dropping them. But to see them interact. So what is with the fish and Mission Fish stand for?
So it's fish. The FISH is fishing, interacting, sharing, and healing. And that's the goal. I mean, really is. That's the goal. It's really about the healing. It's really about bringing these heroes back together so they can have a sharing experience and interact with each other and fish. So, I mean, it really is the mission. And I think Mission Fish is doing a great job. And I look forward to this Operation Anacapa this year. It's going to be another great one. And hopefully I can attend and make it this year.
Yeah, man. It's something, and the reason I wanted to throw that part in is because, we're fishing, and people that are listening that, because we have a lot of fans and viewers that don't always fish, that from other aspects that follow us. And we'd like to let people know that fishing isn't about harvesting a catch all the time. We want to make some ceviche. Some days the fish don't bite. But the fellowshipping and the camaraderie that goes on out there in nature, and the therapy and watching the sunrise and being around people that you engage with and in that community, there's so much more to being on the water than it is about just harvesting a limit of fish, right? And that's what these are we're talking to Brian, because I remember him wanting to go and fish yellowtail with these veterans, and I remember Felipe got whooped. You were on that trip, I think, right? On the Erna or are you on another boat?
I was on a different
boat. Well, I filmed it and I gave you the info, but I knew you were part of the day, and he got whooped by a yellowtail on the east end, right? And it's like, Brian, these first-time fishermen are going to lose most of their game fish.
Right.
They're just as happy catching whitefish and rockfish and fellowshipping, and that's what's great about it is they don't come out with an expectation that if they don't catch a whole bunch to go home, they're still fresh to fishing. So you get to see, our motto is catch a memory, right? So you get to see the memories that you're providing for these heroes, and they're not overwhelmed about the size of the fish or how many they take home. And that's what fishing should be about. But sometimes regular recreational fishermen will base a trip on how many they killed and what it was like. To see, that's what I like about fishing with kids and families first time, is they're still enlightened by that first tug and the first time experience. And that's what you guys are providing. Now, some of these people might fish together on their own, not just wait for a Mission Fish event. Now you're building a community. They get a chance to re-engage with each other, and then maybe spark up a connection to, for buddies and to go out fishing again. So you guys are doing a lot more again than just coming out to catch a fish to take home. There's so much more that these veterans and heroes and their families are getting out on the water, in which fishing is really all about.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think as I've grown as a fisherman, my goal was always bigger fish, more fish, bigger fish, bigger fish. Now,
more ceviche.
Yeah, right. And now that I've become more accomplished as an angler, I look at it like, now I'm teaching my kids how to fish, right? I've got my son out there on the kayak and sharing that experience with him. It's not about catching the biggest fish. It's about learning how to tie knots, learning how to cast, learning how to be independent out there, right? Mm-hmm. Learning safety. That's really big for us, is safety now, because he's my son. And I don't want to see my son get hurt. So, teaching him all these things, it's really not about catching the fish. Last time we were out, these dolphins were blowing up all around us. It was an amazing experience. And had I not caught a fish that day, I still would have had an amazing experience.
Memories.
It's really the memories. And, out here, we have a great ecosystem right out here, right off our coast, that I think a lot of people don't get a chance to experience. And And with your program and Mission Fish, we're opening the door to new people that get a chance to experience something that maybe they've never gotten to experience. And if they learn from it, grow from it, then we've done our job, right?
Well, absolutely, bang, bang. But the what extra significance of this is knowing that veterans, like working with Brian, that have PTSD and don't do well around crowds, for them to be around their environment of people that understand that, they might, I've seen them open up more on the boat too, though, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're introducing 100 strangers, and maybe some of them know each other, that now again might rekindle where they might isolate, right? They're at home and all this stuff is going on in their mental health, and they might isolate and stay away from the general public because of certain reasons, where this little step in the door again can have a ripple effect for those heroes to start engaging with people again or something, right? To come out of their isolation and start to be regular again, if that's what I'm saying it correctly though, right?
Right.
That's what I've seen on the boats, is that, wow, man, I get another Marine or another guy from the Army, and we suffer, I don't like to use that word a lot, but we have the same type of mental health things that we're going through, and now I have a couple other people that I could call and lean to that understand what I'm going through as well. So again, besides that fishing and the experience, you guys are starting a ripple effect of people that can fellowship together with the same experiences that might be in their subconscious mind.
Right. And so there, on one of our trips, we had a couple guys that they served together and they were reunited. And that was really cool. I mean, these stories that you hear, these are really cool. It makes you feel good about what we're doing. And, they served together back in Afghanistan, I believe, and they were reunited on the boat. And to see them like reconnect and sort of share the fishing and the experience together was really cool. Another thing that is, sometimes it makes me a little bit sad. We do a prayer on these trips, on the Operation,
11-11?
yeah, the 11-11 prayer, and it is a very emotional moment, and I'm filming it, so I'm usually filming it, and it's hard to hold back the tears. I mean, I feel their emotions just because I'm focused on their faces. I'm focused on what they're what's going on in their head while I'm filming this, and it is an emotional moment, and I think sometimes you need that to sort of be reminded about how blessed we really are. I mean, it really is, because that is a prayer for the people that have been lost.
They sacrificed a lot,
Right.
and some people, our country, you get people in the service that, they go through these things, and then when they get discharged, it's just, a couple of weeks, and they're done, right? Like, as far as your time serving with the military. But the rewiring of the brain, man, I read this book called The Body Keeps Score,
Right.
and they talked a lot about people in the military through combat that suffer from the same kind of trauma, right? PTSD that most people think about, where it could be somebody that might have been sexually molested, or myself that's been like abandoned through foster care, right? They have these other ways of understanding traumatic experiences. But there's part of this book about them rewiring their brain when they're around each other and disconnecting and reconnecting again. When you see the 11-11 prayer, like I was videotaping it and hearing this guy's emotion and what they sacrificed to give up, you can't help. I mean, I tried to get in the Navy, they wouldn't let me because my record, and so I tried to get in the Navy, right, and have family that's been in different services, other branch services, and we live in Miami, so we know we have plenty of Navy bases around us, and we get to see a lot of military action. But again, when you're on one of these trips, man, and you get to see that and hear that, and also you said feel that, right? When you're recording, and we're just the documenters, right? We're here. I mean, because me and you, we film and we're helping take out the tangles and deckhanding basically, right? And then me and you're also filmers on separate boats. So when you're the filmmaker and you get to document those feelings, man, there is something that really penetrates our soul, man. And that's what Mission Fish and Brian Barber and you guys are doing with the Ceviche Throwdown and these trips, is encompassing a whole lot of that they need, that they might not have ever had since they've been, discharged or left the service, man.
Right. Oh, so I wanted to correct you on that. It's the Ceviche Chowdown. And
Chowdown. I keep saying Throwdown.
You keep saying Throwdown. But I mean, the reason
why? Because you do a boat burger Throwdown. So I had to Throwdown from ours and I added it to your.
Well, I wanted to say why we chose Chowdown, because what do they call the meals in the military?
Chow time.
Chow. Right. So that's why we went with the Chowdown theme, and that's why the nonprofit is Mission Fish. So we're sort of keeping it with the terminology that some of these heroes might relate to.
something about fishing, man. I tell you, and this is the community that we live in, man. We're so many. I mean, I work on boats, right? We're talking about this on the way out. Me being a cook and being a deckhand. And that's why I always film with Real Anglers Fishing Show, is the memories and what we catch in the community of people that get some type of therapy from being on the water, whether it's at a stream, at the islands, surf fishing, pier fishing. There is just something of nature that will help people bond together,
Right.
that you have conversations that you might not normally have, something about the inner soul that we have, man, of being in nature. And fishing is one of those things. And I'm just beating that to be like something so simple as soaking a worm or a sardine could bring so much peace really to our souls and our people. And that's why it's important that we try to get people to come out and fish, because that way you could say, oh, it's not just all that expensive gear and these far exotic locations and stuff and this expensive bass boat, but there is some healing and there is some connection with nature and spirituality, man, that comes along with fishing. And then if you do harvest something, you get to take home and cook or make, there's that accomplished feeling as well, too,
Right.
So, man, getting me excited in here, because again, not just the cause that you guys are doing, again, it gets to the proof. I think there's a movie out. I know there's a movie out on Netflix where a veteran is learning how to fly fish.
Right.
And that kind of brought lightness to, or brought a light to the fact of, again, we're not just out here, decimating fish populations by taking home 6 or 10 fish a day, that there's a lot more to that nature and that peace that we get so wrapped up in life that fishing really brings and soothes too, man. So
Right.
you guys are just killing it on all levels for that. And we could talk about that today, not just whoppers and destinations and stuff. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, it is.
So what else you got going on? We got the Chowdown. You got 12 restaurants coming out. We're going to do some eating. We're going to do some slurping. You can do some sipping if you want to enjoy a beverage that time of year. And where's the location at? I've seen the video. Tell people where it's at.
So it's at the Olivas Adobe, and the Olivas Adobe, if you haven't been there, is a beautiful location. Great garden, rose garden. I mean, it is a great place to take photos. So I advise bring a camera, take some photos, post it on social media. Let us get the word out there about this great event. And we're inviting some foodies out so that they can get some content. And this location is beautiful. We've got a stage, a full-on production stage, and we've got some entertainment. It's really nice. It's right near the harbor of Ventura. I don't know if you've never been there. It's off of Olivas Drive, and
so it's usually nice around this time of year in 2 weeks. We got kind of a piece of a heat wave. We do live on the ocean, so sometimes you get a little marine layer. But man, a summertime activity and entertainment, and your money and your donations are going to a worthy cause for our veterans that have sacrificed so much. And again, a team that utilize this support to make it easier when you do an event, because like you're covering their fish cleaning bill,
Right.
You're covering their lunch on the boat, kind of exactly what we do with the Guppy program, with the kids fishing days on a boat. That's exactly what you guys are doing. So I understand it top to bottom, which is why I like to talk about it, because I understand what that takes and the resources it takes to provide, to just give all that away. You raised all that money to just give away to for people to have an enjoyable time, man, And so again, your donation that you're making with your ticket purchase, again, is going to the right places so that they can come out, enjoy that. And then I know at the Anacapa 100, when they're done, the Lions Club Extra comes in too and throws a little barbecue, and you guys give away some stuff and have a raffle. So they make a full day out of it, where they hang out for another 2 hours up on the bank up there in the Channel Islands Harbor, and kind of get more fellowshipping together and give out some awards and thank the volunteers and helpers, man. So that's a lot of work and a lot of effort, man. And your money and your donation is going to a great cause. And again, it's a cool way to do it without, again, just a rubber chicken past the collection plate. You guys are having a fantastic event at the same time, man.
Yeah, it is. It's really a cool event. Last year, after we did our first one, I literally had this high feeling, this runner's high accomplishment feeling. So, I was just blown away about how well it went. We were scared. We're nervous. It's our first event. We're like, what are we doing? Are we going to do it right? How are people going to receive it? And the feedback we got was amazing. People were telling us they had a great time. We had just the perfect amount of food. We never ran out of ceviche. We didn't run out of any of the beverages. We had great entertainment. It was just a really, really great event. And all of our people that showed up were just telling us that they would kind of come back next year. So I was like on this runner's high, and I went home and I took the video. And a lot of times after a long day, I don't want to go home and edit video. I went straight home and was like on the editing bay, and was just, I had this energy and this feeling of accomplishment that, you sort of, I guess a lot of people experience, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it just fueled me to want to do this again. And this year's this year's a little tough with the economy and everything, and we know that there's a lot of events going on. We're competing with a lot of events, but ours is different. Ours is special, and ours is for a good cause. You can that by coming to our event, the money's going to go help somebody else. So some of these other events that are going on right now, they're big parties and everything, and they're great and everything. Ours is more than just a party. We're taking that and we're giving our resources to other people so that they can experience something that maybe they never get a chance to experience.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. All right, we're running out of time right here. We like to keep about 35 minutes, man. One more time, the location, date,
website.
And website.
Yeah, so it's at the Olivas Adobe. That's Sunday, July 21st, from 1 to 5 p.m. And you can get tickets at CevicheChowdown.com. If you want to find out more about Mission Fish has a website as well, and that is missionfishusa.org.
Yep, and that's exciting, man. I'm just sitting there thinking about all that good food and also thinking about the trips that I've been on. So this podcast was meaningful for me too. We've had Brian Barber out a few times. To see him still surviving this long in a nonprofit world that I understand completely. Sometimes you want to throw your hands up and walk away. Because again, trying to just raise funds and what goes on with it and how many countless hours it is, it's definitely something done out of the heart, out of a passion, or you again throw your hands up and walk away years ago. And I know Brian's been through a lot, and I know he's tried a lot, and he's hung in there, and that's important, Brian. So shout out to you, man. You're not here today, but again, if anybody knows what it's like to go out and raise funds to give away to take people fishing, it's me. And understanding what goes on through it, and again, so just keep up the good fight, man. I'll be there. Community Kev will be in the building. I'll be the what is that called? The not just your regular guest judge, but your what am I, Scotty?
The master of ceremonies is probably.
Oh, no, I believe that's to Brian, but your celebrity judge.
There you go.
Community Kev will be your celebrity judge. Just it out. What do you think, Barry? You want to go? So Barry's going to be in the new book, man. Coastal Critters we have coming out. Let me just drop that real quick. We have our new workbook coming out called Coastal Critters, and it's about migrant fish that travel, like the striper and the salmon through California, that come out of the freshwater into the saltwater and stay on the coast. And we have a bear dot to dot, and also have that's also the state animal, so we have the California bear, which I call myself Caliente Cow Bear. And yeah, man, that's coming out in a couple weeks, man. So look for the Coastal Critters, and then on the cover too, we also have migrant workers that are working in the fields and the watershed runoff that comes out. So it's a pretty cool, neat book about California called Coastal Critters, and Barry's going to be the star of this new book. So anyway, that's what we're going to do right here from the Real Langler Studio. Scotty, anything else you want to add?
Next week, ICAST. You want to talk about that just real
quickly? Yeah, next week, Community Kev will be on the road going to ICAST. Look for us out in Florida. We're going to be highlighting the new intern thing that we have going on, and the new episodes coming out, the Blue Carpet premiere with our 2 new episodes that have come out in October, with our interns working on editing, and 2 videos that we did from coast to coast with from Santa Barbara to Texas. So be on the lookout, and with the new Guppy Ranger clips that are going to be in that too. So we're going to go out to ICAST next week and really spread the brand, spread Community Kevin's gospel, and try to get some more support from the fishing industry.
And Rick, one more time, that website, please.
The website for the Ceviche Chowdown is CevicheChowdown.com.
.com and missionfish.org, right? Missionfish USA.
Missionfishusa.org. Yes.
All right, man, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys on the water. We'll see you around, and chow down when you come to our town. Chow down when you're west.
Guess what, Ventura County? Guess who's back? Back again. That's right. 2024 Ceviche Chowdown, where you get to experience the best ceviche from the best chefs and the best restaurants, where you get to decide who makes the best ceviche. Unlimited wine, unlimited beer. Unlimited beer? I want to be there then. That's what I'm talking about.
How about I bring some whiskey, and you know what tastes really good with ceviche?
What's that?
Tequila.
July 21st.
Where is it?
Right here at the Olivas Adobe in Ventura County.
And where can people buy tickets?
CevicheChowdown.com. Hope to see you there. Let's go!
The Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brennan is brought to you by Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. Built to look good and be tough. Promar and Ahi USA. Premium fishing products and accessories with concepts developed by passionate anglers. Channel Island Sport Fishing. offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Mossy Oak. From hot days in the water to sweltering afternoons in the woods, we've got you covered. Outfit your obsession. The Latino Business Expo, Ventura County's largest networking event. Special thanks to Bruce at Kirby Subaru in Ventura. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.